where the earth breathes.
And she's saying, "Oh, your father's gone really weird." He was getting a little bit of dementia, and I'm not so sure whether it is dementia. Perhaps the psychic faculties open up, who knows. Anyway, he was acting a little bit strange. And he was telling my mum, when he woke up one day, "Oh, I had a very strange dream last night. This bus came up onto the grass in front of me, and in the bus were all my brothers who were dead, because there were 5 brothers in the family, and they'd all died before my dad. And they were saying, 'Come on, George,'" father's name is George, "'Come on, George, we're going to heaven.'" And he didn't go with them. And she said, "Oh, he's a bit weird." But when I looked deeply into my father, I saw there was a tremendous amount of fear, this nub of fear, that was preventing the normal, easy, facile passageway of death, which is quite normal. Nobody gets out of life alive, sort of thing. You're going to die, I'm going to die, everybody's going to die. We're not going to get out of this. But so what I did was, I spent a little bit of time removing this blockage of fear within my father, and I sort of sent him up to heaven, which is what you normally do with these sorts of energies. And the next day, my mum rings up and says, "Your dad's just dead." So as a joke, I know it's a pretty awful joke, "I killed my father." But if you understand that death is normal and natural, and that a fast, quick death is preferable to many days lying in bed fighting off the idea that you're going to die. I thought it was quite compassionate to help him in that way. And, he died. And it was a lot easier for him. And he went to heaven straight away. He didn't hang around creating problems for the people down here. What are you laughing at, Gita?
You said creating problems.
Yeah.
Well, when people die and they sort of hang around because they're too heavy to go to heaven, they create all sorts of problems. I described what happened when my grandfather died. And I had another experience that sort of impinges upon relationships. It was when I was a member of the Federation of British Healers. And, you had to go on training courses to find out about healing people. Because I've always had a lot of energy in my hands. So, healing people by laying on of hands, sort of thing. And there was one of my students of yoga friends and meditation friends, and she had just lost her husband from cancer. And he had sort of a very virulent, horrible form of cancer, which is called cancer of the face. So she'd had a terrible time. You know what it's like when somebody that you really love dies in front of you? Well, you've got to have compassion, haven't you? Well, I didn't know anything about that. I was just laying on hands on my friend here. And as I was laying my hands on her, she was going through all the normal Kundalini energy sorts of things, and she was seeing all of her past lives, which again is quite normal when you have somebody competent putting their hands on you, sort of channeling energy into them. So I'm doing this for about half an hour to an hour, and she was begging me to continue with it because there was a lot of energy flowing through the hands, and she was feeling the benefit of it. She said, don't stop. Well, all right, go on. So in the end it finished, and she went off home. And the very next day I felt that old familiar grey life-sucking energy all over me. And it was actually painful to live. I think it was the worst depression that's ever come upon me in my life, because it wasn't just the fact that I was depressed. it was also the fact that I could feel people, I could feel their energy.